All right, here we go. Okay. All right, so we're going to start with what is the Jackson Collaborative Network? And for those of you, I see many of our seasoned members on the screen. Um, this may seem like a silly question, but I think I speak for the staff team. We hear a lot of different answers to this question throughout our network, depending on where you might be plugged in or how long you've been involved. So we really just want to start by setting the stage and making sure we're all on the same page about what are we talking about when we talk about the network. So this is almost the history that we need to talk about where we've been before we can really talk about where we are right now. So this may look the new way of looking at it, but the names of the groups and the action teams should look familiar to many of you. So prior to 2020, we actually had several network strands. We call them strands, but several different collective impact networks that were starting to work together and coordinate their work. And we also had a collaborative council who was responsible for kind of bringing together those ideas and activities that kind of spanned across all of our network. They weren't specific to any one strand. So we had a team of people involved there as well. And this structure, the four bubbles on the left, really included around 400 to 500 people at any given time. And there would be a multiple action teams, work groups, different names for those things. But early in 2020, as a result of about a year of planning and design, the network, all of those networks merged or integrated into one comprehensive network focused around the social determinants of health. So we really have a network focused on a shared vision, a common set of goals, and we're working to better align and coordinate those activities. So I wanted to note that those four entities that existed before 2020 really laid the foundation of where we are today, and we continue to learn and grow from that place today. So lots more we could share there, but wanted to acknowledge the space we've been in and then talk more about where we are now. But before we do so, Amy's going to help us. We really want to get a sense of like where people are plugged in and where they have been plugged in the past. So we're going to try a little something. Amy, do you want to
We're
help us
going to try
grab?
a little something. That's the key word. So we're going to try to annotate today. That's a fancy way of saying we're going to put a stamp on the screen. This screen kind of shows how to annotate. Your screen may look like this, where you'll see the annotate on the button. You might need to hit view options along the very top of your screen, and it will pull down this piece here that says annotate, where that right hand arrow is. And then you will click on stamp. You're welcome to use any stamp you want. Well, we got people stamping, so we figured out how to do it. I'm going to let you know too, on the right hand side of that bar, there was an X where you're able to actually stop stamping. So we're going to, let's see, clear the screen.
Go ahead and clear. Okay.
Okay. And then, so yeah, so if you were in one of the organizations on the left-hand side, the Health Improvement, Cradle to Career, Financial Stability, or Collaborative Council, or if you were in multiple, pop a stamp on multiple circles. If you're new to our network, feel free to put a stamp over on the right-hand side where it says the Jackson Collaborative Network. But let's just kind of see who's on the call and where they've been involved in our network up to this point. I also acknowledge that often folks were in the Health Improvement Organization in multiple different health action teams. And if you were, feel free to put multiple stamps on any particular area. I know there's some folks on the call that could stamp away.
Thank you,
Okay.
Kathy. Looks like, so in addition to the stamps, we have some involvement in C2C.
Are folks, are they able to find how to annotate? So they pull down the view options, and then there's an annotate section, and it'll bring up a bar. The fourth one over on the bar is the stamp. Kathy, I see you're struggling, so I'm going to put a stamp in C2C for you.
Okay. And I love that folks have chosen hearts as well as stars, and like, yes,
Sending so much
hopefully that
love.
indicates your love and the shiny, dazzling. Yes, it's exciting. Okay, all right, Amy, if you want to clear that, Amy is our annotate queen. Yes, she has learned it and is mastering it. So thank you for leading
And
the
don't
way.
forget everyone to click the X, the red X, to leave annotate. Otherwise, you will be stuck there for the rest of the day.
You'll keep stamping on all of our beautiful slides.
Which could be fun, but
Yeah.
also distracting. So, all right. Okay, well, thank you so much. I know I should have actually, while that was still up, we should have talked about that a little bit, but it looked like we have folks on the call from a variety of places, both in the past groups that were in place, but also a few new folks as well. All right, we will move on to the next. So this gets back to the question of what is the network? So when we talk about what is the Jackson Collaborative Network, the easiest way to define that is it's all of us. It is everyone on this call. It is all of the folks in our community that are working together to improve the quality of living here in Jackson and make our community a safe, healthy, and thriving place to live, work, and play. So, so that is like fundamentally the basic answer. It is all of us. It's not the network staff team. It's not the network council. It is all of the network partners that are involved. So in addition to that, we are a collective impact network. What that means is that we have a shared vision for the change we're trying to see happen. And then we also have a common set of goals in ways that we're tracking and measuring progress. And we'll touch on that in a little bit when we talk about our shared measurement system. Um, we're a multi-sector partnership, so that means we have folks from all over the community working in different sectors. We have business, nonprofit, health, human service, lots of community members, variety of people. At last count, we were getting close to around 560 some members. And really a member is anyone that can commit to our shared values, which are equity, authentic engagement, and continuous learning, and agree to begin aligning their work around our shared priorities. And again, that's defined in our shared measurement system, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. And then our network is systems change focused. So we're looking at constantly looking to identify the root causes of issues that are contributing to inequities in our community. And we're really working to address those root causes so that we're creating lasting, sustainable change rather than constantly focusing on all of our resources going to solving emergent problems and a rather systemic focus than a programmatic focus. Programs and services are critical and necessary, and they're not always sufficient at addressing the root cause of the issues that are happening, and we may not see changes in the inequities that are present in our community. So we are going to have a pause here in just a minute, so I'm going to keep going. The next thing that's really important to share is what is our network purpose? So if you think back to the slide that had the bubbles on it, where we put the stamps on, we've gone through some changes. Early in 2020, our network was really transformed into a new structure. A new model is in place. Our staffing structure and the responsibilities of our staffing team have changed. And the purpose of the network has remained the same, but we're really honing in on aligning our services and supports and our actions and the model around that purpose. So our model, the network is really designed to support all of you. So our partner agencies and those doing work in the community, it is designed to support you in your efforts to take action and to really put systems change priorities or systems change strategies in place that are going to change the experience of community members in our community. So we're really looking at improving outcomes for those who live here, especially those most vulnerable. And yeah, I'll stop there. I could ramble, but I keep reminding myself we only have an hour. So I like all the words, but I will push myself forward. We have a Q&A coming up just in a minute, but I'm going to kick it over to Sarah to tell us a little bit about collective impact.
Yeah, so collective impact, this is the core methods and frameworks that the network uses and that guides the work. This is a lot of information. Obviously, we won't have time to go over everything today, but just a quick, when we talk about a collective impact model, it's a way of organizing and aligning the work of many partners around shared goals and priorities. And it's just a way to bring a group of people together to agree on mission and vision and goals and how we do the work better together. So we're not duplicating things, and it's a little bit messier. It is a little bit tougher, but also the results can be much greater. There are some elements off to the side, a common agenda, shared measurement system, which Sherry talked about, and I think Alexa will talk about in a bit, mutually reinforcing activities, continuous communication, and backbone infrastructure. So this is a really quick overview. We linked the Collective Impact Forum, the Collective Impact site that we use often. It's full of lots of tools as well for more information on it. But just when thinking about the network and who is there and what it means to work in a collective impact framework, this is what we mean.
Yeah, we could almost do a whole session just on collective impact. And we know that's not what many of you joined us here for today. So just wanted to touch on it quickly.
And we could do a whole session on shared measurement, but
Yeah,
we're going
we
to touch
could.
on this quickly today too. So this is just a brief overview of our shared measurement system. As Sarah mentioned, this is one of the core values of a collective impact model. And this really helps us this was designed primarily in 2018 and 19, and it was designed with input from all of our network partners. So there was a very dedicated core group that helped us organize our thoughts, but it really, folks from all of the different strands really fed information so that we could have this kind of shared vision, values, and aims and goals. And the work that here, it helps us align our work as network partners. Our staff, the network staff, is here to make sure that when organizations are building action plans, we're able to build strategies and action plans within organizations, but we are here to help align those with our shared vision. And the way that that kind of rolls out, it came from kind of organizing around system change targets. So we heard from individuals in our community of where barriers were, where things were kind of, where they were struggling or where they were unable to have their needs met. And then the network, as Sherry mentioned, 400 to 500 folks kind of gave input for this. So obviously our vision is that we're healthy, safe, and thriving. We are just, engaged, in learning our values. So I guess when folks are building action plans, I think the key thing to keep in mind is that we do have a shared goal and vision. This helps with accountability for change as well. And we'll see this roll out in the future as we're building action plans. We're able to kind of come together as a network. In previous iterations of our network, we had different kind of strands, but now we'll actually have groups that will be working around similar system change targets. So if you have a group, say, that are all working on identifying inequity policies and procedures in your organization, we're able to connect those individuals so that they can build up each other's work and kind of work together to do the similar way in the community. So again, there is lots more of this on our website, so feel free to dive in. We have identified a few priority strategies or priority root cause changes, and there is lots more. So with that, I think we're going to take a quick pause for questions. I know it was a lot of information. We're moving through it very quickly. But if you want to take a minute to either type in the chat or do it a quick unmute to find out if there's things that need more clarification at this point.
Amy, before we pause for questions, I was going to add one of the questions that came up. It comes up in meetings. It also comes up when we're in the registration survey. I'm sorry. There were a few questions about when is the network going to be pulling together kind of root cause groups. So I wanted to touch on that here, and I think we talk about it a little bit later as well, is the way in which the network, so the network staff team, would organize work around certain root cause priorities is really dependent upon our partners, so all of you, to identify those strategies within your action plans so that we can see where we have similar work and where we have similar interest and resources to work on specific problems in the community. So that actually provides the data that allows us to be able to connect you with others in our network that are working on similar things. They may not be working on the exact same strategy, but they may be working to address change related to that root cause, or related to a specific goal. So that is really a key, for us to be able to better support you, that we have that information, and can work with you in those ways. I will pause, and now we're on to Q&A. Okay. So questions about the content that we've covered so far, or any clarifications on any of the information that we've shared so far? Or, I mean, I'm looking at the folks on the line, and we have folks that are involved in our network. So if there are others that would like to share additional details on the things we've shared so far, please feel free. Okay. My team knows I am not good with awkward silence. I'll own that. But also, we'll keep moving, and if other questions come up as we go, we'll pause, um, as needed. All right, so we're going to get on to the parts and pieces of the network. So this could be new information for you, could be information that you already have, and that's okay. We want to make sure that we're setting a clear foundation for everyone before we start talking about services and support. So in our network model, see, someone already loves the network staff. Look at them. So no, Megan, we love the heart. So keep them coming. So anyway, this is a quick way of looking at our network model. So we are focused on specific types of activities that support collective impact in our community. So at the very bottom, and it's at the bottom for a reason, because it's the foundation and it creates kind of that strong foundation for our network. So the network council and staff activities, and we'll describe the council again in more detail in just a few minutes, but there's really work happening at the foundational level to build capacity and to support alignment around our shared measurement system, make sure that we're aligning resources in ways that are best supporting partners. Lots of foundational work happening. And that isn't where systems change happens. That is where the foundation is built that makes systems change possible. Um, in the next space, which is collaborative action and learning, that's where folks come together. So partners like you coming together to share and learn with each other, to come together for collaborative planning and problem solving. That's where the collaboration and kind of connecting happens, in alignment with our shared priorities. Um, as we move further up, we get to organization and partner activities, and that's really where the work becomes sustainable. So for example, we might have several partners come together and problem solve around a specific problem or specific root cause issue that's happening in that collaborative action and learning space. And as they learn more and more about what needs to happen, pushing those activities. So there might be some collaborative work that's happening outside of organizations. The goal, getting the change integrated into the organizations that have the most control over those programs and services and practices that are impacting our community. So when we get up into that dark blue space where organizations and partners have actually shifted what they do and how they do it to better align with the needs of those they serve, that's where we get a closing of the gap for those inequities that are present in our community. That's where we get sustainable change. Um, and that's where we actually see systems change happen, and we'll see movement on our outcomes in the community. All right, so there's another way to look at that, and this is really just breaking it down a little bit more. So new word on this slide, or new term on this slide, is backbone infrastructure. So our network staff team, so that's the small team that you have with you today, that network staff team provides a specific set of services and supports that is designed to help you in your efforts to take action around our shared priorities. The network council are members from our network membership that serve on a small team that come together regularly to really kind of care for the network. So they're really providing guidance and support for the infrastructure for the network. So they're doing things like um, identifying strategies for ensuring sustainable financing for the network. They're coming together and helping to design a dashboard related to our shared measurement system. So there's specific work they're doing to help take care of the network and help make systems change and collective impact work possible in our community. So that's really the backbone infrastructure. And that's a core element of collective impact work, is having a strong backbone infrastructure. So then there's all of you in the network member column there. So network members are individuals and organizations that live, work, and play in the Jackson community that are part of Jackson's system of care. And so I use that term very broadly. So usually when you think about care, it might bring to mind like clinical care or, certain services. When I use system of care, it really is anything in our community that's contributing to the health and well-being of our residents. So when you think about your role in the community as a network member, you're an organization that either employs people, provides services and programs, or you might provide funding that supports programs and services. And so it's really important that we understand like the system of care and where we all sit within that in relationship to our residents. And then we have our community members. So those are critical element of our network. So these are the residents that are actually experiencing that system of care. They're either employed by your organizations, they're utilizing the services and supports that you provide, they're participating in the programs, they're attending your schools, they're taking your classes, those types of things. So our community members have valuable input to provide to us that will help us understand what's working and what's not, what needs to change, and what's actually going to improve outcomes. So all of those pieces together make up our network. We'll pause a bit right after this, but I wanted to also just give it to you in a different visual. So I'm a very visual person. I love pictures, and also clearly I love colors. But on this slide, it was just meant to show the relationship between the various pieces and parts. So as you can see, community members are really at the heart of everything that we do. And this is really kind of pulling from our human-centered design framework that we apply to some of our work in the network, that we really put the person at the center. And when we put the person at the center, the way in which we work on problems and issues actually looks different. So anyway, that's a rabbit trail there. But anyway, community members are at the center. And next in that relationship is our network members and partners. So all of you that have that direct interaction with our community members. Then we have our network council, which is a small segment of our network member population. And that council is part of the backbone. And I know that I mentioned that before. And that might be a new term for many. So I recently explained it this way to my family, and we'll see if it resonates. But when you think about the human backbone, okay, so you think about the human backbone and what helps you stand up, what helps you, kind of stay upright. The backbone is responsible for kind of keeping you up, right? It supports the rest of your body. It's not the brain. The backbone does not control the whole body, but without it, your body would not be able to do many things. It's also not the arms and legs. It's not moving the body. It's not taking action. So I wanted to just throw that out there in case it's helpful. So then the network staff team, we've talked about that a little bit, but really the staff is here to support all of you in your efforts to take action within your organizations and within the community. So we'll talk about those services in just a moment. On that note, I'm going to pause. That's way too much talking from me. So Alexa, I'll turn it over to you to see if we have any questions.
Yes, another Q&A session. So before we move on, we're going to be talking about shared priorities next. Let's take a second to check in to see if there are any questions on the information we've covered so far. Feel free to unmute yourself and talk to us or send us a question through the chat.
And specifically, if you have any questions about the structure itself, or who does what and who's responsible for what, now would be a great time to bring those to the forefront.
I think everyone needs another cup of coffee at this
I
point.
know. You might have met too early.
Yep. You laid it out so well. I appreciate all the visuals.
All right. Well, I guess we will keep going and get to the good stuff. All right. So next we're going to dive into the services and supports that the network provides. This was also something in the registration survey. Many folks that registered were interested to know, what are the services the network provides? How can I access them? What's available to me as a member? So we'll go into that here. All right, so core services. So these are specific to what our network staff team provides to you as network members and to the network on behalf of all of you. So first and foremost, we have our coaching, training, and technical assistance. So this is really about helping you to take action, helping you to apply systems change frameworks and methods to your work. Amy and Sarah will talk more about that in a moment. We also have our data and information management component of the work, and Alexa supports a good portion of this. So that's all about making sure that you have access to information and data that helps you really understand how we're doing, helps you be able to track and report progress toward shared outcomes, so that collectively we're able to take a, can't think of the right word. We're able to understand how we're doing moving forward on our shared priorities. And then continuous communication and information sharing. So this is a core element of a collective impact network, is that we have that continuous communication, so that we're sharing, we're both getting and giving information that helps us understand our collective work and what's happening and what's being achieved. It also is really key in building trust and relationships among our membership. So especially during these virtual times, keeping information flowing to and from our members is important to us. So we'll talk more about that as well. Amy and Sarah, I'm not sure who's taking the lead on this one.
Well, we are one and the same. So I'll yes, Amy and I serve as collaborative network consultants in roles to both universal and technical coaching, training, and technical assistance. This slide has a lot of words on it, and mostly to reference later, or to have all the information there. I'm trying to think. We have also a slide thinking about the new-ish structure, and how it varies from the previous structure. Amy and I have been hosting learning convenings on a monthly basis that kind of fall into the universal targeted approach, universal approach that that could benefit all members. And we also have some targeted one-on-one coaching. There's a lot of, Sherry mentioned before, so much work and so much potential work around the action planning that some of the network members have done before, and also the potential that could come from more of that work. I don't know, Amy, do you want to cover more of the slide and add in to where I,
Yeah, no, I think it's basically kind of two realms. We have universal assistance that will be kind of putting out communications to the network on a monthly basis in different ways. Hopefully we'll be holding some workshops coming up, highlighting bright spots of network members, and as Sarah mentioned, the learning convenings. So some of the way you'll see us is really kind of in general, universal kind of happenings, but we're also available for one-on-one target and for one-on-one coaching. So if you're in your organization and you're doing your work, or you're building your action planning, or you're thinking about addressing some of our root causes in the network, we'd love for you to reach out to us, and we will kind of help make sure that your work aligns with what the network is doing, and also be able to make connections within. We can't make the connections in the network. We talk about our collective impact and how we're kind of working together, but we need to hear from you as to what the work is going on in your organizations, and to be able to both make connections and also make sure that work aligns with our shared agenda. So yeah, it's, we're here in a variety of different capacities. We'd love to hear from folks. We would love for you to sign on to some of our, learning convenings or workshops, things that are going on moving forward. But there are lots of ways that you can connect with us. You can get onto our website and kind of peruse the information. There's a great toolbox on our website that is a resource for all network members, that it expands a lot about the concepts like collective impact and things like that, but it also gives a good clear idea of what we do and how we do it. It has shared measurement things on there. It has a section where you can learn about upcoming events, things like that. So yeah, we are here. We are excited to move forward. We're excited to kind of bring network partners together, align work, basically.
I also think there's an important piece to talk about too, is that we kind of like did this thing and built it at the same time. And so there are things that we're really excited about, and we're learning as we're going. So there are also opportunities that we're listening to members on how best to support them, and then also looking for new opportunities to support and connect with members. And we've talked, like on the website, there is a discussion board feature that we haven't really utilized super well, but we're thinking about like ways how can we connect with members and connect members to each other, and maybe have that align with like our topics for the month and things like that. So anyway, we're just continuing to think about more ways. And also, if you have ideas on ways that would best support you all, that would be great as well. There are a few ways to reach out to us. Our contact information is on the slides, so you can reach out to us. We are also in the process of getting a fancy new information hub that I'm sure Sherry will talk about probably somewhere. But there is a request for coaching and consultation right on the main page. And when you click the button, it comes to us. But really the bottom line also is that if you're interested in we just want to encourage the conversation piece, because we have like a form. We want to make sure that any needs you might have align with the network priorities, and that they're not like, hey, can you come clean a counter for me or something, right? We want to make sure that everything aligns with what we're doing. But we very much encourage a conversation, and we can help facilitate the coaching process and the intake and all of that piece.
Yeah,
and thank you, Megan, for clarifying. Oh, were you going to say that, Amy?
Yeah, no, that's all good. Yeah, there were a couple of questions that popped up in the chat, so I just want to take a quick minute. And I know we're short on time, but the process, there was questions about the process. It's really reach out to us. Then we have said some individuals that have reached out, and we've met with them bi-weekly or monthly, or kind of touch base as services are needed. So if you need some supports, if we might be able to, touch base with you every other week and do some check-ins and see how the work's going. We'll provide you with tools. You'll check back and say, yes, we've worked with it, and kind of support you. And it might be 2-3 months that you're working on a particular thing. It might be that you reach out and say, hey, I'm stuck with this particular piece. I need some information on the system scan. We'll get you the information. You might go on your way. You might be, so there's no formal process. We ask, yes, that the work aligns with our network priorities, but I would say, yeah, if there's any questions about whether or not it's appropriate for you to reach out to us, reach out and ask, and we'll let you know, yeah, that does align with what we're doing, and we can assist you. It might be a 1-2 touches, or it might be ongoing, every couple of weeks that we check in and move you through a very more complicated process. So yeah, so we're here.
I'm going
Reach
to have
out.
to nudge us along. I'm so sorry.
No, we're good.
I did want to just get really, really clear on the what does it look like? So reach out to Amy, reach out to Sarah, or both. Once we, as Amy mentioned, or Sarah mentioned, I'm not sure, but once we do have our network information hub updated and it's super fancy, you'll have a button that you can use to just quickly submit a request for a consult. So really, when you reach out to Amy or Sarah, they're going to take a moment, they're going to take a little time to just explore your needs with you. So they'll have an initial conversation and determine what support might be needed. And then you guys will work together to define what that looks like. So we don't have any preconceived notions about what folks' needs are related to the work that needs to happen in the community. We really want to have that be part of an open conversation and then design a plan for support together. So. All right, and then we do have some Q&A right after we cover some of the staff services and support. So Alexa, I'll go ahead and move on to yours, and then we'll come back for questions.
Perfect. So I am the data and information specialist, and the main emphasis of what I do for the Jackson Collaborative Network is to make sure members have access to data that helps drive action and accountability. So one of the key elements of the network's data collection and reporting efforts is the Collaborative Community Assessment. The Collaborative Community Assessment is a formal process that occurs every 3 years, and here are some key components of what the Collaborative Community Assessment is. So there's a part of the phone survey, which surveys Jackson County residents to gather data on social determinants of health in alignment with our shared measurement system framework. The phone survey is supported by Henry Ford Allegiance Health, Center for Family Health, and the Jackson Health Department. You'll receive information in a follow-up email about the survey that will begin in January. Next up is another component is analysis of comparison data from a variety of sources, such as the census, the BRFIS, Kids Count, Vital Statistics, MyFi, etc. And then we also have qualitative data gathered from residents to better understand community conditions and root causes. So the network publishes a collaborative community assessment report, which helps to make data from the assessment available to you. The purpose of this report is to provide you with data on community conditions specific to the shared measurement system framework, so you can identify issues and determine priorities for action within your organization and within the community overall. It's helpful to think as the collaborative community assessment as a key element of the shared measurement system. You can find information about the shared measurement system and collaborative community assessment on the network website, and on this slide you'll find two super helpful sections, one on the shared measurement system and the other on the collaborative community assessment. Another way that the network supports data and information management is supporting partners to align their actions around the shared measurement system goals and priorities. The network information system, you may also know this as the Network Information Hub, which Sarah and Amy just talked about, provides the infrastructure for this alignment. So members create and implement action plans that are aligned with shared measurement system goals and root cause priorities. Members can track and report their progress using the Network Information Hub. This also allows us to have a better understanding of the work that is happening and how it contributes to desired outcomes. Collectively, tracking and reporting progress is key to measuring progress on our shared priorities. And if nobody has any quick questions about that, I can pass it off to Sherry.
And some of the functionality Alexa just mentioned for the Network Information Hub, for those of you that are familiar with the existing Information Hub, it doesn't quite get there just yet, and that's some of the work we're doing with Megan, who is our QuickBase guru, to make some adjustments and build in some more functionality around action plans. We're excited about that and seeing us get more focused on creating that transparent accountability for the actions that we're all committing to taking. So I am going to move on. I am the filling the gap person. So we just recently made an offer for our communications and information specialist position, and that new staff person will be starting early next week, actually, and doing some onboarding over the holidays. So we're super excited because all of these things get to come off my to-do list and onto someone else's. So I'm, a little selfishly excited about that. But so I'm going to talk through some of the ways that we support communication and information sharing among our network partners, where we put information, how you can find it, So right now we have the Network Information Hub. So that serves as kind of like our intranet. If your organization has kind of an internal website or intranet system, that's kind of what our Information Hub is designed to do. It's not a website. You will not see it function like a website. It's not a failing of the Network Information Hub that it doesn't look and feel like a website. It's actually a database. It's designed to manage information for us. And we really we invest a lot of time and effort in making sure the information that you need to support your involvement in the network is available to you. So please make use of that Network Information Hub. We'll include a link to that if you're not familiar with it. We also have some tutorials and things that we can make available when we kind of have the new functionality in place. We have an e-newsletter. So we had a comment in the chat area about, do we know how many people are opening that e-newsletter? Who's actually reading it? So it is, anyone who's ever launched a new communications method knows that it takes time and effort over time. People pay attention more and more over time. So we started back in February, I believe, might even have been January, I'm not sure. But that e-newsletter launched. It goes out to all of our 500 plus members in our contact list. If you're not receiving that and you feel like you should be, likely it's ending up in your junk mail or your spam filter is filtering it out. Usually when something comes out like that, if you haven't marked it as safe, it will show up as junk mail. So please take a look at that. If you're not sure, we can always send a test that we can problem solve with you to make sure that you're getting that on a regular basis. We also have our website, and that recently launched. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you do. And it's just jacksoncollaborativenetwork.org. And that is our public-facing presence for the network. There's great information about our collaborative community assessment, our shared measurement system. There's also a lot of great information about systems change in general. So, we have lots of information about what is systems change, what are the different methods and frameworks that we use as a network. So it's a great place to kind of plug in to the network, but also it's a great place to send people. So you can actually, if you're talking with somebody about the network and you want to provide them with more information, include that link or send them to the website. So question in the chat about what email address does that e-newsletter come from? Currently, it comes from my email address. So it will come from sbutter2@henryfordhealthsystem.org, so hfhs.org. But because we use an email newsletter client, like not a vendor, we use an online software to actually send the email for us. Some email, I am not this person, so I won't have the right words, but some filters that are in place within different organizations might notice that and hold it or send it to a junk mail folder. So if you're not getting it, we can definitely check to make sure. Facebook. So we have our network Facebook page. That is really designed to help keep us connected as partners. Right now, it's a one-way. We're posting things, we're sharing things. We really hope you'll be doing the same. So feel free to again, not the expert here, but feel free to go on the page, make comments, drop us a comment or post and tag the page. I believe those are all real things. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, feel free to interact with that page. It's meant to be a live communications tool for us. Networking and update events. So this is one of those where we're providing updates. It's a little less interactive and conversational than most of our other things that we like to do. But these update meetings are really designed to provide information and an opportunity to get clarification as needed. We'll also be hosting some networking type events. So we've done a happy hour in the past. Virtual happy hours can be a little challenging, but we did have some brave folks that joined us. I think Dana, Hannah, there were a few others that joined us for that. And so we'll do more of that as we get someone on board for our communications work. So appreciate the feedback, Megan. Yes, yes. Okay, so at this point, we were going to pause for questions, but I think I'm going to push forward and just finish our content so we can have Q&A at the end if that works. If it doesn't, I'm sorry, but I want to make sure we get through our content. So accomplishments. This was something that folks shared was really important, wanting to know what's been happening, what's been accomplished since the network shift earlier in the year. So we really put our thinking caps on and had to think way back to February. Like, oh my gosh, you know, we had our network transformation, things changed. What's happened since then? So this is really just a short list of those things that we brainstormed and we came up with. Um, as you read through those, I would love for folks to either unmute and share additional accomplishments or go ahead and type them into the chat. And we would love to start building out a more comprehensive list of accomplishments that we could share with you on the hub or even build into our website. So, um, so as you look at this list, if there are other things that you feel the network or us collectively as a collective impact network have achieved since January, please feel free to add them. But a couple of the highlights, so, we've identified a fiduciary, we have an employing entity in place. I'm a bit appreciative of that. We've developed a lot of things like we've developed a case for support. We've started reaching out to various funders for sustainability conversations. Coaching and consultation has launched. Like there's been, basically all of the things that have been built this year are underway. We've refined our collaborative community assessment, and we've continued to push forward on that effort as well. And I'm going to cover this what's next. And then we'll have like 4 minutes. Goodness. Monthly learning convening. So this is one of the key ways that we interact with you is providing these monthly opportunities. Sarah and Amy convene whoever would like to join, they get together on a monthly basis. And Amy and Sarah, what is the frequency of what is the date? What day of the month is that? Like the third?
It has the third Wednesday of the month from 10 to 11:30 in the morning.
Okay.
But
And
give us
those,
feedback if that doesn't work for majority, because we are flexible. We want to be able to support.
absolutely. So you'll see information about those in our e-newsletter. Targeted coaching and consultation is available. And again, it's as easy as reaching out to any one of us, and we'll connect you with Amy and Sarah if that's needed. In January, we are going to be kicking off action planning workshops. So we will start with our council members because they're going to be our test subjects. They're going to help us refine the workshops and make sure that they are, meeting the needs and aligned with what we need in the network. But these small group sessions will be live. They're going to be focused on helping you get a start on your action plan. And again, it's helping you get clear on what is it you need to do or what do you need to focus on within your organization or within the community, and what actions are you committing to taking? How will you track and measure progress? And really helping support you through that process. So the workshops for council members will begin in January to help us refine the process. And then the rest of the network will have the opportunity to join those sessions starting in February. Our phone survey, already mentioned, will be launching in January and will continue through March. If you have questions about that phone survey and how to help promote that or just questions in general, Alexa would be the point of contact for those. And then our shared measurement system. So we've talked about it a couple of times. I want to make sure that we're calling out that our shared measurement system is the way that we're tracking and measuring the impact of our collective work in Jackson. So it is the way that we're tracking and measuring progress. It's the way that we're able to see what is the impact of the work that we're trying to do together. So if you haven't yet checked that out, please do. But we're going to be reaching out to get some input from all of our network members on some of the qualitative data needs that are out there. So look for that to come out to you probably after the holidays. And then finally, here's our contact information. So if you need to get in touch with any one of us, our emails are on the slide here. You will get these slides and follow-up along with the meeting evaluation. I think Alexa's going to put the link to that meeting evaluation right in the chat. So if you want to complete that before you leave, you can definitely do that. But at this point, I want to pause and say, of course, thank you so much for joining us and for bearing with us as we got through a ton of information. But at this point, we can unmute, and if there are questions, staff are going to hang around for a while, so feel free to unmute and share questions with us. And at this point, though, we'll just open it up for questions. And many people look like they're on the way to other things. So I appreciate you joining us for this hour. And we do have a second session this afternoon from 3 to 4, same exact content. So if you loved it, come back. We'd love to see you. But feel free to encourage others to join us this afternoon at 3. So. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and just know that we're going to stay on for a few minutes in case anyone has any other questions or information that they'd like to share with others. So thank you, everybody, and happy holidays.